Boom. Omar Beldon, 4-color control against Kazune Kosaka on mono red goblins. Okay. 4-color control. Let's get a deck list here. Let's get it going.
Let's get at it.
See what I can find. All right, so we're basically Sultai cards. Are we just splashing Yasharn? We got a Yasharn in the board. The splash is for white. Okay, so just some Yasharn's main deck. Okay.
Sure.
We've seen this before. Yasharn's powerful. All right, here's a question for you, bud.
Mm-hmm.
Forgotten Cave and Goblins.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
The deck plays with 6-mana cards that, if you are a half beat off of playing them, don't do anything.
Okay.
You have 1-drops. When does this deck have a point on its curve where it can just play a land that enters the battlefield tapped?
I don't know.
I'm not even sold on the second copy of Castle Embereth. Even that strikes me as like playing with fire unnecessarily. And Castle Embereth has spots of being totally busted.
So the idea here. So obviously the idea here is, perfect situation. You draw it, cycle, and then boom. I found my Muxus or whatever, right? But the cost of that card, like being land 6 or land 4, is like it's like a horror show.
I have not watched this Goblins deck flood out very much because the games are over quickly and you have stuff to do with mana and you really want to make your first 4 or 5 land drops. I have not seen it just run out of stuff to do.
Here's a Growth Spiral. Powerful. We know that. Basic Forest, Fabled Passage, Overgrown Tomb are the options. 2 Fatal Pushes, along with a Nissa, a Yasharn, and an Extinction Event in the hand. You had mentioned when we talked about this Sultai deck versus 4-color, Yasharn's not free. It's good, but it's not free. Got to play some Triumphs, got to play some Fabled Passage, got to play the Plains. Continue.
There's just cascading consequences to other parts of your mana base. It's not like you can't handle a single white mana. That's not the issue. The issue is, how many more lands you play that enter the battlefield tap, and what are the consequences of that?
Also, how often can you find it?
Right.
I think it's pretty easy to find it when you have Triumphs and Fabled Passage in the Plains, but, so finding your white mana, but, it's not like a lock that you have it all the time. There's Chandra, main deck. Okay. Chandra's interesting to me. So, I remember when this card got printed, everyone's like, oh my gosh, this is like a Jace the Mind Sculptor level card. Mm-hmm. And so, the card, as it played out in standard format, it was very good, very impactful, and it's seen play in older formats some, right? When it got reprinted, when it got reprinted in Kaldheim Remastered, I was just like, I think that card's outclassed power level wise. I just don't think it holds up to the test of time. Turns out it's still been okay.
Well, it's good on the battlefield, and it's good if the game's about other stuff. It's not Jace the Mind Sculptor level in terms of what does the game look like when nothing's going on. Like, Jace the Mind Sculptor is lights out if your opponent's not doing anything. And Chandra is not guaranteed to produce the same value over time. But it's hard for it to be actively bad in the way that, because you have the out of just getting your card back or killing something and moving on. And so it's something that actually I think holds up even as card pools get more powerful. It's going to play pretty well regardless. Yeah. And here I kind of like it as it gives the deck another dimension. It's a different card type. It's something where you aren't just caught up by Extinction Event and Languish. And it does bridge you to Muxus. It's not the fastest way to do it, but it's one more route to get to 6 mana.
I think all the pieces of the puzzle are good on Chandra. I don't know why I was so dead set on thinking, I don't know, I just don't think this is that good anymore. I think I've been proven pretty clearly wrong from my own personal way of looking at things. But I was a little surprised that it still kind of holds up. It's still pretty good.
So you have an emblem that's game over. The outs are make mana or draw cards, and has the option to kill stuff. Is even as card pools get more powerful, that stuff's going to hold up pretty well. Those effects also get more powerful as your cards get more powerful. There's more competition for 4-mana plays sort of broadly, so it's not, is Chandra good enough, but more, is Chandra the best 4-drop when you don't necessarily want any 4-drops to begin with. But I expect Chandra to be influential in Historic and Pioneer for as long as it's legal. I mean, there's going to be some fluctuation. It's not always going to be a ubiquitous card, but I don't think it's just going to get powered out of these formats.
Fair enough. Well, it's certainly powering up this game. Here comes a Goblin Chieftain. Going to sacrifice some goblins to make this happen. You see the battlefield here with Muxus, a Snoop, Prospector, Mob Boss. Chieftain's going to make these goblins grow and also grant them all haste. Now, Krenko's going to go active.
And this is, I think, you're seeing a very good demonstration of why you would want to play goblins to match up against Sultai rather than, mono red aggro or some tribal beatdown deck or whatever. Fatal Push plus Nissa is a lot to get through if you're playing an attacking deck, to say nothing of Extinction Event or whatever. The fact that goblins can go way over the top, the fact that they can set up combo kills like this where they can win the game or close to it out of nowhere, is a dimension that a lot of other decks just don't have. And it makes a lot of Sultai's tools that are supposed to let them hang in aggressive matchups just not really pull their weight here.
Well, this game might be over just that quickly, folks. I mean, this is the appeal, because now your block obviously is on Muxus mostly. I'm surprised Muxus isn't attacking here. I'm trying to figure out why it wouldn't attack, really. There we go. Okay, so I don't think anything is going towards Nissa. Could be wrong about that. Looks like it's all going upstairs, but this is the appeal of playing this deck, right? You're seeing it right now. You resolve a Muxus, you do all this busted stuff, you can still kind of play a normal game, Omar's conceding, and it's all pretty general and straightforward, and then it's just like, okay, sideboard games, I gotta figure out how to beat like Graph Digger's Cage and stuff like that, and that all seems, I don't know, pretty doable.
Especially because Graph Digger's Cage isn't even guaranteed to do anything against you, depending on what your draw looks like.
That's
and
true.
You have sideboard cards like a Braid where it's unlikely for it to do nothing. It might not be the ideal card, but your opponent's probably going to produce a target at some point, be it Hydrocrisis, maybe a land from Nissa, something, and you have an opportunity to blow up Cage if that happens to be what the game is about.
Let's talk about how you can get 30% trade-in bonus at StarCityGames.com. Pretty simple. You go send us some singles, some sealed decks, some large collections, some bulk, some store inventories, and you'll get a 30% trade-in bonus with us. So if you're looking to sell some cards, or some large collections, some stored inventories, you can go big, small, everywhere in between. StarCityGames.com is the place to go to do that, and as a thank you, you'll get a 30% trade-in bonus. Learn more over at StarCityGames.com. Game number 2 about to be underway here between Omar Beldon and Kazune Kosaka. 4-color control against mono-red goblins. That 4-color control mid-rangey-esque deck that has Uro and Thoughtseize and everything else. Wasn't able to stop the Goblin Horde that time around. And again, as we kind of work ourselves into the historic tournament and format, we know a lot of people are playing these Sultai or 4-color control decks, and also this mono red goblins deck. And I know other people are trying some other things, be it Orzhov or Azorius Auras. You can go to Dimir Azorius Control. You can try things with Aetherworks Marvel and the Energy Mechanic, but seems to me, at least thus far, the standouts are mono red goblins and these Simic or Sultai-based control decks that have Growth Spiral and Uro, whereas a lot of people like to call them Uro pile of cards.
I think we can do better. I haven't thought about it much. I'm really good at naming stuff. I just got to think about it for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it is true. Like, I mean,
I just have to concede that point. I have no choice.
Time to concede it, but.
Uh-oh. Folks, it's 10:01 Pacific, 11:01 Mountain Time. That means it's 1:01 East Coast time. You know what that means, buddy?
What are we looking at?
Good luck to all of your fantasy football teams today. We wish you all the best of luck. I hope you set your rosters appropriately. And I'm just wishing everybody luck. I want everyone to win.
What do you think Taysom Hill's ownership percentage is going to be?
If it is not 100%, there's a problem. I know some people are going to get crafty and go like contrarian. If it's not 100%, there has been a misclick.
Can't go contrarian against someone who costs them in. Like, what if you're right? Okay.
Yeah. Cool, I guess.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Growth Spiral's going to put Glacial Fortress into play. Here's a Temple Guard. Yeah, so the white splash pretty easy. Basic Plains too. You see Uro and Thoughtseize in the hand. can play both this turn if you'd like. It looks like we're going to be tapping the mana ourselves for this one. Don't trust that auto tapper.
You want to leave that black up to make sure you can Thoughtseize after the fact.
Temple Guardian's going to enter the battlefield tapped. Uro was drawn. And now let's get a little look at the grip. Ringleader, Muxus. Let's make it 2 Ringleaders, along with Shatterskull Smashing, Phyrexian Tower, and Wily Goblin. You know, one of these things, there's a lot of things I like about the double face cards. I like that they can be hit by discard.
Yeah.
Maybe that's weird of me, but I actually like that.
No, I kind of feel that a little bit. Like, there's this sentiment about, okay, well, discard that gets land is bad. And I agree with that generally. But it's different when the other player is opting in. Like, you could just play a mountain instead of playing that card. You know what I mean? So you're already sort of conceding that there are going to be weird interactions that emerge as a result of you choosing to play with this card. That's very different than coercion taking lands out of someone's hand.
Sure. No, I'm with you on that. And it doesn't come up that much, I don't think, of someone like Thoughtseizing their land or dress your land, whatever. But I'm kind of into it when it does happen.
Yeah, I am too.
It's like you knew that this was an outcome that could take place, and it's bad for you, but the opponent's like, I'm loving it. You know, the opponent is jazzed when that happens. Ringleader time. Spin that Goblin Wheel. Oh, that's 3. Snoop, Muxus, and Chieftain. I'm not going to play Goblins at this event. It's on brand.
It doesn't look bad. It does not look bad.
It really doesn't look bad. Here's a Krasis. And this Sultai deck is as powerful as it is in this particular match that we're watching. It's kind of just plodding along.
Right.
It's not really doing all that much.
But, you know, there's still the burden on the other side to combo out because there's so many sorcery speed sweepers. And then Aether Gust is a pretty powerful check long term against a lot of that stuff happening. Although, you know, sometimes,
how's that?
Sometimes it goes this way too. You know,
how's that then, bud? Like, that's
look. There was a moment there where it looked like, you know, Extinction Event plus Gust is like you kind of got it all checked, right? No, take 1,000.
Yeah, you are at -15. How's that sound? -15, okay? Kazune Kosaka wins this match over Omar Beldon 2-0. Mono Red Goblins destroys 4-color